Hey, I'm Ty Anderson, voice actor, TyTheVoiceGuy.com. I just got interviewed by the one, the only Keith Andrew. This man is fantastic. You got to join us for this interview, plus everything else and everything before. The Keith Andrew Network, right here.
As you heard from the recommendation, we have a great guest here, only on the one and only Keith Andrew Network. The following is brought to you by June 18th. I made a mistake in the last one. June 18th is the 10-year anniversary of the Keith Andrew Network. Then on June 10th will be a Zoom call for the interview. Now, with that being said, June 8th is my in-person event. My actual date is June 10th, so that will be a Zoom episode. But it's not about me, it's about you. With that being said, you are an award-winning voiceover actor, and I think that's absolutely tremendous. And with that being said, thank you for choosing and accepting my invite to be on my show.
Absolutely, Keith. It's a pleasure to be here, sir. How are you today?
Pretty good. Yourself?
I'm actually doing really well. Little wore out, but that's just part of what I do when I'm not being a voice actor.
I hear you. That's what the same thing with my show. You know, every day, 10 years. You know, like The Rock said, or Dwayne Johnson, for people who don't know who The Rock is. You know, clanging and banging. As long as you have a heartbeat in your wrist, a heartbeat in your chest, and you can breathe air, do what you love until the day you die. Yeah, of course, he didn't say that the last part, but that's how I feel.
That sounds absolutely good. My saying is, hey, I got out of bed today and I'm breathing.
Every day you wake up is a new day, right?
Absolutely. Oh, that's great.
So the next one, we mentioned Robin Williams, so I'm going to ask you some of your favorite expressions. One of the quotes, or favorite quotes. One of my quotes I heard recently was from Kung Fu Panda. Great movie. I like Jack Black. I like tigers. I hope she gets her spinoff. But the line in Kung Fu Panda is, yesterday was history. Today is I'm butchering it. Yesterday was history. Tomorrow is a mystery. But today is a gift. That's why they call it a present.
That's right. I love that movie. Those got some fantastic voiceovers in that movie, you know, and just some top. I think that's Angelina Jolie who plays the tiger. If I'm correct, I think she does the voiceover for the tiger on Kung Fu Panda, and that's wonderful. That's a great one. I like that. My favorite quote you were asking from Robin Williams would have to be "Nanu Nanu." Plain and simple, from his character when he was Mork. Because he has too many of them, my friend. Too many of them.
That's true. You know, there's a couple of George Carlin ones that I can think of, but I like Vince McMahon. Getting old, I'm 35, but getting old sucks. But let me give you an example of what I mean by getting old. Look at the early 90s. It was great for I'm going to call it professional wrestling. You had WWF, you had WCW. Every Monday, some people had two. It's really funny. Some people had two televisions back to back. One for TNT to watch WCW, and the other one was WWF. I used to oversee for school because my brother used to tape in a room. So we would watch WWF Raw first, and right afterwards, he would be taping in his bedroom Nitro. So we would watch it back to back. If you can tell, I'm a big wrestling fan.
No, I couldn't tell at all, sir. That's great. I had a friend back in the 90s, late 90s. Very large gentleman who was a bouncer, and he was heavily into wrestling, and he'd take the night off to watch wrestling. That was his night off, and I'm like, hey, all right, enjoy, so.
No, absolutely. But one thing I wanted to say, it's when you were growing up, let me ask you this, when you were growing up, Do you think it's a lot of people say it's PG? It's PG that kills it. It's PG that hurts it. When I was a kid watching the World Wrestling Federation, now I feel old. And you had Brett, Owen, Sean. It was great, and it was storytelling.
Yep,
If you can
absolutely.
tell a good story, then you had the Attitude Era, and now fast forward 30 years, they're trying to go back to the PG after they're doing the rated 14 stuff.
Yeah.
It isn't that you're going back to PG, and we can get to the blood stuff later. That's not the problem. The problem is, do you think people are just too sensitive, or where did
Yeah,
we?
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Too sensitive. The world, or for the most part, the younger generation, is too sensitive. Shut up. Okay, shut up and be a big boy or a big girl. Move on. Don't complain about it. Get your face out of the phone. Really talk to some people. Let's get back into what we're supposed to be. Yeah, absolutely. People have become so I don't ultra PC, and it ruined stand-up comedy for a while, because people weren't into that, and they didn't want to go to a comedy club, and they didn't want to hear this, and comedians had to tone their stuff down, and that's comedians are like saying, hey, screw this. Let's go back to what we know and what's funny. And I'll bring up an example is what's the comedian's name? He just did a couple of stand-ups on Netflix. Oh, sometimes I have brain farts. I'm glad you're not here to smell them. They're bad.
Well, give me an example. Does he has?
He did. He used to do the TV show on Comedy Central, and then he quit.
Oh, Bill Yangerfall.
No. He had this series, and then he was going to get offered like $50 million, and he went down to Africa for a while, and then came back. I can't remember. Big name.
There has to be Gabriel Iglesias, Jeff Foxworthy, Bill Angerfall. It probably wasn't Dennis Leary.
No. Newer comedian. Just give me a minute. We'll go on to another subject, and what'll happen? It'll pop into my brain, and then I'll blurt it out like I'll blurt it out like Jeopardy.
Well, let me ask you this, and it's the KeithAndrewNetWork. It's fun. It's random. We like to have a great time.
Yes, you do.
What was your opinion about Chris Rock being smacked by Will Smith?
At first I wasn't sure about that. The way that Chris Rock took that smack, man, he was like, all right, here we go. And the way that Will Smith was walking back with the kind of a smirk on his face, yeah. I don't know, it felt set up, but then, then they both are not talking to each other. I think Will Smith was way out of line. You got to know he was. You don't walk up at the Oscars and slap someone. I mean, come on. I mean, hey, it was cool to watch. Don't get me wrong. It was cool to watch. But for the most part, man, now sit down. He was making jokes, and yes, maybe he offended your wife, because he was laughing right up to the point he looked over at his wife, and she's like, oh, he's making fun of me, and that's when he got up and went up there.
Yeah, but how can you defend? I know she's your wife, but how can you defend on her really when she cheated on you? It's kind of like a double edged. Like, the fact that he laughed at it says okay, he was okay with it. But then his ball and chains, like someone took his balls.
There you go.
And it's kind of like, oh, I have to go do something. But the way he walked up, you knew it looked fake. You looked like it was staged. And then if he didn't say, hey, get my blanket wife's name out of your mouth, if he never said that, you would think it was part of the show. But the fact he went on a rant afterwards, it was kind of like a little much.
Yeah, yeah. Then you were kind of like, ah. And the name of the comedians I was thinking of, Dave Chappelle.
I remember him.
Yeah, that's what I was talking. See, I told you I have this kind of memory where it'll go blank, and then we'll talk about something else, and it'll just pop up. I have a tendency to do that during conversations. People are going, "Where are you going with this conversation?" I'm like, "I'm trying to stay on track. Trust me. The train's there, but it's splitting up here, and I don't know what to do."
No, I agree with you 100%.
Yeah,
But
the deal with Will Smith is, he's out of there for 10 years. He got in trouble for that. And, yeah, it seems staged, but you're right. When he was ranting, that kind of went overboard. You know, yes, he made a memorable tape of the Oscars for that little thing that happened. Don't get me wrong. They'll be looking back at that for a long time. But, yeah, he could have held it, till the backstage would have been cool.
that's true. One more thing I do want to say, then we can go to another question. And
Sure.
you look at Eminem. Eminem was a perfect example. He could have pulled a Will Smith when the guy fell on him. Oh, what the, it's
Yeah.
but it turned into a comedy skit, and like, oh well, I guess Eminem likes hits peanuts with nuts. But he could have went off, but he just said he laughed it off, and it's Will Smith, and I'm gonna say it. Will Smith, if it was anyone else, it was Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, one of my favorites.
Yeah.
If it was Arnold Schwarzenegger, if it was Sylvester Stallone, he wouldn't have the balls to step up and slap. Do you imagine Will Smith slapping The Rock in the face? I don't see that.
No, I don't either, because it would go back to him. He would hit him back, and and then he wouldn't get up. Will Smith would not get up. He would be the Fresh Prince of the cement.
I actually can see The Rock hit him. You imagine he actually did it in his movies, so he using wrestling moves.
Yeah.
You imagine the highlight for the next 10 years, the highlight of the Oscars, Will Smith being rock bottom on the stage. That'd be really fun.
That's great.
And the other one is like, and I was talking to my brother about this. And this is a fun question I want to ask you. Who is, obviously you're going to know who this is, but who is the only president in the United States history to receive a Stone Cold Stunner?
Oh, was that Clinton?
No, that was Trump.
Oh, it was Trump.
He will, for right now, until The Rock becomes president, he will be the only president who got hit with the Stone Cold Stunner.
I love that. I liked that wrestler back in the day, Stone Cold. Stone Cold Steve Austin. See, I'm kind of a little bit older, so I can even go back to the 70s with my wrestling that I used to watch on like Sunday mornings from it was television from Denver, Colorado, and they had that wrestling back in the day, and I'd watch that.
Let me ask you, how old do you think I am?
37.
Oh, close. 2 years off, 35.
Wow. Really?
I know I have gray hair. I'm trying to get rid of it, but
yeah, I shaved mine off.
But I grew up, Hulk Hogan, and then the new generation, Brett, Owen, Michaels. The Attitude Era was okay. I didn't really care for it because it was going through tables and calling each other bitches and sluts. I'm like, what is this? And then 2002 will always be one of my favorites, the ruthless aggression era. You have John Cena, Brock Lesnar, Randy Orton, Dave Bautista. And it felt like 2002 was a start of a new generation.
Yeah.
And every year in every generation, there's a wrestler. Hulk Hogan for the 80s. It was a big group for the 90s. Brett, Undertaker, Michaels. Attitude Era was The Rock. It was Triple H. Then it was John Cena. There were so many, and now Roman Reigns, he's actually going. I was hoping he would lose the belt and not talk about wrestling, but when he loses the belt, I really hope Roman Reigns can retire because having the belt for almost 1,000 days and having it for 4 years straight, he beat Hulk Hogan's record. Hulk Hogan was champion from 1984 to 1987.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone else usually has it like for a year or so. Bruno Sammartino had it for what I think 7 years, but
Wow.
it's a different time. I
Yeah.
mean,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. You've got to keep people interested. And that's how you do it. You don't, that guy has beat everybody. He's gonna retire. No, somebody's gotta beat him to get the belt. Come on, we gotta do this. And that's how that works, and now it's quicker. It's like, hey, I'm gonna kick your ass and I'm taking your belt. Oh, here, I'll do it right. I'm gonna kick your ass, and I'm taking the belt from you. There's no chance you're winning. There.
that's pretty much it. People usually have a belt for a year or 6 months to a year.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, look, you made history. You had the belt for 4 years. When you lose it, just retire because you made history.
Yeah.
But they're gonna run it into the ground like they did with all the other movies. But the question I want to ask you: you are an award-winning voiceover actor.
Yes, sir.
What were some of your favorite voices over the years, and what voices did you ever try out for?
Oh, I tried out for so many, Keith, but probably my most proud voice right now is I did a submarine sailor voice for the USS Bowfin Submarine Museum audio part of the tour in Pearl Harbor.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's my proudest moment. As far as great voices I've done a couple of voices for the game company Gearbox. Worked on a Borderlands spinoff. And I worked on another Borderlands spinoff called Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. Wow. The company I'm working for right now has been incredible to me. I've been with them for a year. It's not usual that you stick with a company. It's kind of okay, you do work here and then this company wants you or this corporation or this person. But right now, I've been working solid with this company, and they're beautiful people, absolutely wonderful. I've had a pleasure. I've probably done over 200 character voices, and what they do is add on audio for tabletop role-playing games. So basically what it is you have your phone, or you can have it hooked up to a speaker, and during your game, you come to somewhere and you click it on your phone, and there's my voice. You've come across the one and only bridge. How do you think you'll make your way across? Stuff like that.
That's really good.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I do the low end scratchy voices very well, but I don't sound like a kid anymore. But that to me is absolute fun. Yes, I have an outside job, but this is what I love to do. This is kind of everything to me. And when I ever get to work and do character voices, I love it. It's my heart.
Well, let's end the show. We got 10 minutes left. I'll pass it over to
Okay.
you. Did you ever do any voices where you just want to screw with somebody? For an example, when I used to work over as a cashier, I couldn't resist. I was ringing up the person, and it was like 666. And it's like, oh, can we use a penny or something and make it over? And I was like, here's your change.
Yeah.
You
I
ever
think with my voices, yeah. I mean, people have had me do back in the day, and when answering machines were around, and I used to do their answering voices, and usually it was Casey Kasem. I wasn't really messing with people, but hello, America, I'm Casey Kasem. We're going to count up from 40 all the way down to number 1. Getting underway right now with Jefferson Space Trip, knee deep in the pooper. And now, on with the countdown. So, Go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Please go ahead.
I really want you at the show now because I want you to do that. Every time there's a guest speaker, you can do like a little announcement like that. Or do a voice. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, I do Christopher Walken. Do you know who Christopher Walken is?
Of course.
Well, I do this Christopher Walken thing, and, he's kind of an older Christopher Walken now, but he's fun. You come mess with me, I'm going to stab you with a soldering iron. So I do impersonations, but at the same time, I think my strong point is coming up with voices. And what's really neat, what has happened is being a little bit older, I can use like stuff from the 30s. I used to watch 1930s monster movies and black and white movies and old series. And I have voices that I can just grab and nobody's going to really know who they are, except if you're a little bit older. I love that. And oh man, it's just the most wonderful feeling, Keith, to hear yourself recorded. Doesn't matter if you got paid for it or not. But if they use you, it's beautiful, it really is.
Well, two things you did bring up. Well, the first one I think it's like 1939. I can't remember his name. I'm not gonna even try to pronounce it without hurting myself. And I do have that effect on people, by the way. And you probably know him. He did the screaming voice for Looney Tunes. Like anytime, Bugs Bunny.
Oh my God, that's Mel Blanc. The man is my man. That is the reason. He is the reason I am here, my man. I love Mel Blanc. I do. I said, listen, boy, there's times what are you about as smart as a brick in the wind, It's stuff like that. And those are the impersonations. One of my favorite is Pete Puma. Oh, you better give me a whole lot of lumps. Oh, I love, oh, yeah.
Like going back what we said in earlier, Looney Tunes, they had to tone it down, goes, it's too violent. You know what? When I was 6, my brother made us watch Pinhead, Freddy Krueger. I shit myself during Jurassic Park. Yeah, that was my own fault. The movie wasn't scary. I had to go. My dad's like, you always want to use the bathroom. Have to use the bathroom? No. Did halfway through the movie.
Hey,
but
that happens.
It does. Yeah, but even with Power Rangers, let's see, today is the 17th. Power Rangers doing a 30-year anniversary.
Wow.
God rest his soul. Jason David Frank committed suicide, and we're gonna do a little plug. If you ever feel depressed, do 1-800-GET-HELP.
Absolutely, that's beautiful because I suffer from bipolar disorder, and absolutely, I'm right there, Keith. If you feel down, depressed, something doesn't feel right in your life, not clicking right, please talk to somebody. And Mr. Keith up here, I got to point out because you're up there, laid the number on you. So 1-800-GET-HELP, please, people. It's better to be helped than to go through life and not sure what's going on. And I'm sorry, your friends are beautiful people, but they're not helping. Unless they're a psychologist or a doctor, they're not helping. All they're doing is, well, maybe you need to go outside more. What? Yeah, outside. Did you know that, Keith? I didn't know that. So every time I go outside, it goes away, and then I come back in, and it's back.
Well, we can keep it uncensored. It's a freedom of speech. One of my favorite things, like what George Collins said, I need a little space. Go the fuck outside.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. George Collins today will be, he's too rambunctious. He's too out there. Stop trying to ruin shit that people enjoy. Stop ruining George Collins. Don't stop trying to ruin Robin Williams. Right. There's a couple other things. SpongeBob. SpongeBob. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
My favorite was Amazing World of Gumball.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's a good cartoon.
Beautiful. And yes, people are, and you're like, shut up. If you don't like it, change the channel and watch the Golden Girls.
Good show, by the way.
It is awesome. I love the Golden Girls. What am I talking about here? Are we going to have problems or what?
But it's the same thing. Go back to wrestling real fast. And
Yeah.
you're like, oh, blood, it's too messy. Look, I'm not acting for a horror scene or anything. And it was PG, Ric Flair. He's always known for someone who blades himself. He's a blader. But occasionally, Bret Hart gets bust open, Rowdy Piper. And if it had one of the greatest.
Yes.
I'm here to kick ass and chew bubblegum, but I'm all out of bubblegum.
And I'm all out of bubblegum. Yes, sir.
But it didn't bother people. It's now when you see blood, oh, we have to go black and white. It's like, well,
why?
Yeah.
It's not real. It is real blood, but people are not getting to the point where an eyeball's popping out or fingers getting cut off. Everything's taken care of in a certain sense and kind of a little bit worked out. But after that, it's just kind of a free-for-all, and they know what to do, So
you can't fix stupid, but you can numb it with a 2x4.
Do you remember Smokey and the Bandit?
I heard of it. I never saw it.
Oh, okay. There's a line from Jackie Gleason, and that says, "Boy, remind me when we get home to slap your mama right in the mouth." It's just the kid's so stupid. He's got to slap, just like one of those things. So
yeah, it's fun.
There we go.
One of my favorite. Let me ask you: do you like Family Guy or you like Futurama? Passing it over to you.
I like all of those. Yeah, giggity giggity.
Futurama is one of my favorites.
Oh, absolutely. You can kiss my shiny metal ass.
My favorite line. It's where season 1, episode 2, where they talk about Man on the Moon.
Yeah.
And we show Jackie Gleason, bang, zoom, straight to the moon. That's not how it happened. He just used that metaphor for beating his wife.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Futurama, I love Futurama. Still watch the reruns. Right now I'm like in season 6 on Family Guy, just rewatching it on Hulu. It's great. There was some really good stuff. I mean, I kind of got to season 11 of Family Guy, and it kind of got really off kilter there for a bit. But I've been watching, like on TV, they'll show like different episodes. I'm like, oh, okay, those aren't so bad. But yeah, man, love Family Guy. Giggity. All right.
I'm going to give you an extra 5 minutes because I do like talking to you.
Okay.
Give you 1 second. But with that being said, what are some of your favorite comedians you like impressing? Like Ray Romano, can you imitate George Collins, Peter Collins of Optimus Prime? Was there certain people like you have to that influence you to do what you do?
My brother. My brother and Mel Blanc. That's the real true start of it all. My brother is my stepbrother, Gus, but I love him with all my heart. He was a big brother, should be, picking on me and stuff like that. But we sat down and watched Godzilla movies, old Godzilla movies, and we watched Saturday morning cartoons, and we went outside and we did things, and we had a neighborhood of kids, which is so different from nowadays. And I'm really sad for that. I really am, because back in the day, everybody had kids everywhere. But yeah, my brother Gus and Mel Blanc are and Robin Williams. Definitely Robin Williams are my influences in life. Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this. Because you are not kissing your ass or anything. Yeah, I'm going to say it again. You are an award-winning voiceover actor. Did you ever meet some of your favorite actors?
Yeah. J.J. Walker I met one time. I was a DJ in Las Vegas. And J.J. Walker, who was Kid Dynamite from Good Times, came in. And he turned out to be a real dick. I wasn't impressed with him. I met John Larroquette, who was in the original Night Court and was in the new Night Court. He was coming out of a Burger King with this family in Vegas, and I shook his hand. I said, "I like your work," and that's all I did. I've met members of ZZ Top. Just kind of, I've had such a wide variety of careers and jobs in my life that have kind of put me in that kind of area. Did a lot of concert setups when I was younger, little radio when I was younger. So met some country people, just probably nobody real, wow, man, I met that person, but some cool people.
Well, do you think with everything that you accomplish, you would go to Comic-Con and have you do like a meet and greet?
Oh, I would do that in a second. There's a version of Comic-Con in Indianapolis in August called DEF CON, and it is a RPG convention, gaming convention. And I got invited to that by the company that I do the work for. So I'm really excited about that. I'm going to be answering questions like this and so forth. So I'm looking forward to that. I actually went to a con when I lived in Seattle. I went to Emerald City Comic-Con and dressed as Beetlejuice. As back when I had hair and it was really cool and everything. Hey, baby, what are we going to do tonight? Come on, let's go. So.
Funny you mentioned that. Are you looking forward to Beetlejuice 2, or you think you should leave it alone?
Nah, play it. Do it. I think it would just be off the wall. The thing they should have never made was Bill and Ted's whatever movie that was when they made that. That was terrible. That hurt my ass. Literally hurt my ass.
He is a good actor, though. I do like him.
I love Keanu Reeves. I think I can do a little Keanu Reeves. Yeah. Okay. Sure. That's my Keanu Reeves.
So how come Bill and Ted you didn't like? I mean, the first one
the
was
the first two I love, but they brought this. They were trying to. They shouldn't have brought their kids in.
No,
that's what ruined it. It should have just been Bill and Ted, But yeah, they should have never got married. Never had kids, and then the adventure would have been cool. But yeah.
That's true. I do have a couple questions for you off the air. But sure. Wrapping up our interview segment, it was a real honor and privilege having you as a guest. This will be shared on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube for us to do part 2. Everyone who's watching, leave a comment. We both would like to interact with it. But until we meet again, catch you later. Thank you and have a good night.